You may think selling your house is the hard part, but when you're divorcing, the real problems start way before the sign even goes up. One misstep, and you could lose months and thousands of dollars during your divorce. I'm Melina Rissone. I've spent more than 20 years helping homeowners through major life changes here in San Diego, and I specialize in helping divorcing couples sell their family homes fairly, efficiently, and with as little stress as possible. If you're selling during divorce, this video will save you from making mistakes I see over and over. Today, I'll walk you through exactly what can go wrong during your sale and how to avoid it. Make sure you stay until the end because I'll share the single mistake that causes the most delays and costs people the most money. What makes divorcing couples don't realize is that the pitfalls of selling are rarely about the house itself. It's the delays, the disagreement, the missing paperwork. One person wants to sell immediately, the other wants to wait. Or maybe a spouse wants to spend money fixing the house while the other refuses. And before they know it, weeks turn into months and home sits, the stress multiplies, and often they walk away with far less money than they should have. Let's start with the first decision that almost every couple gets wrong. Before you even think about listing the home, cleaning it, or looking at it on Zillow, you first have to answer the question, is one person keeping the house or are you selling it? This sounds simple, but it's where countless people get stuck. In many divorce situations, selling is the cleanest option. It gives both of you access to their share of equity and lets both of you move on. But before you decide that, you need to know what the home is worth today, and how much is left on the mortgage, how much equity there really is, and whether one spouse could realistically refinance and keep the house. Even at this early point in the process, emotions can often overtake. One spouse might think the house is worth way more than it actually is. The other may want to keep it at all costs, but wanting to keep the house and actually being able to refinance it are two very different things, especially here in San Diego, where home values are high and monthly payments are even higher. And here's something many people don't realize. Just because the home was purchased during the marriage together, that doesn't automatically mean the proceeds get split 50-50. Prior down payments, inherited money, prenuptial agreements, or separate property claims can all affect what happens. That's why before making any major decision, you should speak with your attorney and/or CPA. On the real estate side, the smartest first step is getting one neutral value for the house so both people are working from the same information. That alone can eliminate a huge amount of conflict. Once you decide the house will be sold, the next potential mistake soon arises. All too often, divorce home sales get delayed because no one gathers the paperwork early enough. By the time the house is listed, everyone's scrambling. Before the home ever goes on the market, make sure you have the mortgage statements, property tax records, HOA documents, receipts for repairs or remodels, any existing appraisals, and divorce paperwork or temporary court orders ready. But there's one document almost nobody thinks about until it becomes a problem. A written agreement for who's paying what while the house is on the market. Who's paying the mortgage? Who pays for the utilities? Who pays for repairs, cleaning, and insurance? If a spouse has already moved out, who handles the showings? If you don't decide before the listing goes live, it can easily become a fight later. And it's not just about payments. This applies to all sorts of responsibilities. I've seen situations where a house was already listed, but no one agreed on who would clean it before showings. The home looked terrible, buyers lost interest, and the property sat longer than it should have. The better approach is simple. Decide everything before the sign goes in the yard. I can help. And that brings us to the next step. Once you're prepping the home for sale, you'll need to make some major decisions. In a normal sale, there's usually one decision maker or married couple who are happy together to work together on the important choices. In a divorce sale, the two people involved often have completely different goals. Sometimes a spouse wants to accept the first offer, while their partner waits for a higher price. Similarly, some believe in spending a bit of money on staging, while the other refuses any upgrades. That's why, before the home is listed, it's worth taking some time to talk about those decisions. You need to agree on what repair work to do, what price to list at, how showings will work, and how to respond to offers. If you don't decide these things early, every small issue becomes a huge issue. Here's what makes this even more important right now. The real estate market isn't at the peak it was a couple of years ago. Some homes are taking longer to sell. Buyers have more choices, and many homes are selling below the list price depending on your area. So instead of pricing the house based on emotion, focus on a strategic approach that reflects your neighborhood and current buyer trends. Before we continue, if you're going through a divorce and want more practical videos about real estate, make sure to subscribe. And if you're in San Diego and want to know how much your home is worth, how much it actually could sell for in today's market, not just what online estimators say, but basically you would like to find out what a realistic buyer will pay for it, I offer a free home valuation report that breaks down your home's value, neighborhood trends, and what you could realistically net from a sale. Now back to the video. I touched on it earlier, but I want to focus on one of the biggest conflicts during a divorce home sale: how much time and money to spend on the home before selling. Sometimes one spouse wants major renovations to get the most out of the sale, while the other refuses to put any work into the house and prefers to get the sale over with. Both approaches can backfire. Typically, you won't need a full remodel before selling. The best home sales during divorce usually involve simple improvements: fresh paint, deep cleaning, minor repairs, basic landscaping, and staging if the home is vacant. Buyers will notice obvious issues like damaged flooring, dark walls, broken fixtures, or bad smells. But they usually don't pay dramatically more because you spent $40,000 remodeling a kitchen before selling. The question isn't how much to spend, but what improvements are most likely to help the home sell faster and for more money. The sooner the home sells, the sooner both of you can move on. Once the home is ready and listed, that's when the next major problem usually begins. Once buyers start coming through, decisions have to happen quickly. If either spouse stops responding, the entire process slows down. I've seen deals fall apart because the spouse refuses showings, ignored paperwork, pushed back on a price reduction, or waited too long to respond to an offer. Today's buyers often ask far more than they did a few years ago. They may ask for repairs, credits, or extra time in escrow. That doesn't mean you should agree to everything, but it does mean you need a strategy before those requests happen. Before you list, you should already agree on your minimum acceptable price, whether you'll offer repair credits, whether you're open to helping with closing costs, how quickly you'll respond to offers, and what closing date works best. Waiting until emotions are high is a recipe for mistakes, delays, and money down the drain. Now, earlier I mentioned the single biggest mistake that causes delays and costs the most money. It happens when decisions are made without a shared understanding of the facts. A spouse may overestimate the home's value while the other believes the market is weaker than it really is. One wants to wait while the other is ready to sell immediately. With both operating from different assumptions, every conversation turns into an argument, leading to delays, price reductions, and often less money at closing. The best divorce home sales happen when both people start with the same information: one realistic home value, one clear timeline, one plan for repairs, pricing, and offers, and one agreement about how decisions will be made. That clearly removes so much unnecessary stress. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this: the divorce home sale process can be simply and low stress, but only if you start with the plan in place. First, decide whether one person is keeping the house or whether you'll sell. Then gather your documents. Create a clear plan well before the listing goes live. Price the home strategically. Only make repairs that actually matter. And decide ahead of time how you'll handle offers and negotiations. That's how you avoid delays, conflict, and expensive mistakes. If you're in San Diego and want help understanding what your home is worth or what your next step should be, reach out to me today. I can provide a free home valuation report and help you create a step-by-step plan specific to your situation. If this video helped you, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos about divorce real estate, selling strategies, and how to protect your equity during major life changes. Once again, my name is Melina Rissone with Coldwell Banker West. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.